ancient China between 4000 and 3000 BC. Carbon dating suggests that there was an inception of a farming practice utilizing paddy fields. Now, what the ancient Chinese would do is they would take these arable plots of land, meaning these land masses that were suitable for farming and growing crops. They would take these arable plots of land and section them off. And through observation of nature, they knew when the monsoon season would come. So they would take these plots of land, and at the end of the monsoon season, these paddy fields would be flooded with between 4 and 6 inches of rainwater. So the ancient Chinese would then take this opportunity to work with nature. And they say, hold on, we got our plot of our paddy fields now filled with water. Now we have a source of water to irrigate our plants. So then they would take their rice seedlings and then they would insert them inside of these paddy fields flooded with water. And this water typically lasts 3/4. Yes, 3/4 of the growing season. So by the time the water has evaporated and has been totally utilized by the plants are ready to harvest. The rice crop is ready for harvest. Now, isn't that something? Isn't that something? Working hand in hand with Mother Nature. Eventually, the Chinese stepped up their game. Yes, they took it to the next level. They said, hold on, I think we're on to something here. They said, maybe we can take this flooded area and we can add fish inside of there and see if we can get some protein at the end of the season as well. So they added the fish inside of the paddy fields. The fish would then eat off of the bugs and the critters that would linger around inside of the paddy fields. Now you have yourself a working ecosystem. It's as simple as that, a working ecosystem. And then towards the end of the season, what do you have? You have the rice crop, and then you have your source of protein, the fish. Super amazing. This is super amazing. The capacity of the human brain to figure things out is just mind-boggling how we're able to do this. Moving along from the Chinese to the Aztecs. Yes, the Aztecs during the Middle Post-Classic period. This is between 1150 and 1350 CE, where the Aztecs came up with this farming practice called chinampas. Now, you might hear people refer to it as floating gardens, but that is an error. It's not a floating garden. It's not floating on top of anything. What it is a rectangular shaped artificial island, meaning that it's built from the bottom of the body of water all the way up above the surface area of the body of water. And it's layered with mud, sediments from the bottom of the lakes, and anything else that they can get their hands on to build these chinampas. And these chinampas were a pretty nice size. They were pretty nice size. They typically range from between 98 feet long and 8 feet wide, and upwards of 300 feet long and 30 feet wide. So these were not some small deals that they had going on. And these chinampas were separated by long channels of water that allowed canoes to pass through, so they can go and float on the little canoes that they had, or the rafts, and they can go check on their plants, maybe stop off, grab a bite to eat at McDonald's. No, I'm just playing, not at McDonald's, but they would jump off, they can check their crops, jump back on the canoe, and head on back to town. And these chinampas were producers of beans, squash, peppers, tomatoes. I mean, they had a variety of things that they can grow with these chinampas. And it was beautiful because the chinampas, the sediments and the vegetation that they used to build up these artificial islands already had minerals and nutrients inside of those sediments that they used. So the lake water acted as a permanent source of irrigation to the crops, and it was independent upon rain. You always had water that was accessible to the crops. Super creative. This is super creative. I'm telling you, the things that the human brain can come up with. So this is super creative right here. Now, all of these examples from the Chinese all the way up to the Aztecs, this is what led us up to the modern practice of aquaponics, the modern way we practice aquaponics. Now, this idea of utilizing fish and plants in conjunction was revived by Dr. James Ricassi from the University of Virgin Islands in the 1970s. And it was researched as a filtration means to deal with nutrient accumulation in aquaculture systems. Dr. Ricassi, he wanted to find out how well plants did as a filtering mechanism for nutrients in aquaculture systems. And it turns out that plants are extremely efficient at uptaking these toxic minerals that may accumulate inside of the system. They're extremely efficient at removing those from aquaculture systems and providing fish or aquatic animals with fresh water. And I mean, this is not a big surprise. We see this in nature all the time. If you go and look at a pond, there's fish in there, and you also see plants that are inside of there as well. And they're operating off of the same principle. It's an ecosystem. One depends on another. Everyone is interdependent upon one another. So this is how an ecosystem works. Now, in the 1980s, you had a gentleman by the name of Mark McMurtry and Doug Sanders. And what they're credited for is creating the first known closed loop aquaponics system. And this was built off of the principles of the ancient Chinese, the Aztecs, and the observation and research of natural ecological systems, all in combination to provide us with modern aquaponics. And from that time forward, the application of aquaponics has increased tremendously. You have people that are pushing the limits of aquaponics, innovators, people like myself who innovate and create new systems, people like yourself who's going to be the future of aquaponics, who's going to build off of the foundations that have been laid and take ideas and push them to the next level as we continue to unlock the secrets of nature, that the secrets that nature has withheld. We'll continue to bring this practice of farming to the next level. Now, it's already on a global scale right now. It's building up. It's building momentum. Aquaponics is the future of farming. It is the future of farming. When the trend comes back, all the way back into buying produce from a local farmer or producing produce for yourself, aquaponics is going to be the go-to guy. It's going to be the go-to method, especially for small farmers or hobbyists that are looking to produce an efficient amount of food in a small amount of space. It's going to be the go-to guy. Absolutely. It's almost like the technological revolution of farming. That's what it is. No one uses CDs anymore. No one uses beepers and walkie-talkies anymore. Everyone has moved past that. It's the same thing. No home hobbyist is going to be doing ground soil growing, back-breaking ground soil growing, especially the newer generation coming up. You guys don't want to hear nothing about back-breaking work. It's all about efficiency. How can I push buttons rather than pick up shovels? That's what the youth is going to want to hear. This is why aquaponics is the future of farming. It still has a lot of technological advances that can be applied to this practice of farming. And it's going to be a lot of you out there that contribute to the advancement and the history of aquaponics before the books are closed. Toodles.